Okay, Studio Series Arcee. Specifically, Studio Series 86, whatever the number is, Arcee. This is a cool figure. I have my issues, but this is a cool figure. I will say up front, the vehicle mode looks good. I like how you've got this kind of sweeping contours that goes into the back, and like these slots here are maybe not supposed to be there, but I kind of like the shape that they make. Like it comes to a point and then flares back out as you go back. It's Arcee's vehicle mode. It does that thing that I find kind of disappointing where the windscreen is super light translucent plastic, so it kind of seems like it may not even need to be there. But yeah, I think it's a pretty decent. It's Arcee. It looks like Arcee's vehicle mode, so there's that. On the underside, it actually transforms a little bit, unlike the Kingdom version. But the thing that kind of bums me out about this is I'm not a big fan of the shades here. This pink just feels a little too dull. I feel like it could have been a little bit brighter, a little bit sharper, and that coupled with the white, it just kind of feels a little bit bland. I also really wish that there were some added details here. Yeah, you get a little bit of gray on the sides, which is good. I like that adds a little bit more visual interest to the vehicle mode, but the headlights, I feel like, could do with some color. The little grille in front could do with some color. This is all stuff I could paint on my own, or fingers crossed, we get a repro label set for this figure. But just a couple of little things I really wish that they had added color-wise. You can also see there is a molded console on the back there, which is neat, but it's all white plastic. And yeah, that's about all I can really say for Arcee's vehicle mode. So let's move straight on to size comparisons. And I need to readjust, because of course I do. Every time. Yes, here is Studio Series 86 Arcee with some mainline figures, and she's a bit small vehicle-wise for Deluxe. I mean, she stretches out a bit, but compared to Burnout, Burnout is much denser, or looks much denser at least. Not that I mind. I think Arcee, especially a G1 referential Arcee, having a bit of a smaller vehicle mode makes sense. Really, it's just that I wish those colors were a little bit more bright and contrasted. Alright, transformation time, and Astrid is circling my chair like a little shark, so at one point the camera may get jostled because she jumps into my lap. We'll see what happens. First, going to remove the gun, which stores right under here. Just pop that out, and it just pegs into this little bit right back there. And there is the gun. It is a little Arcee looking pistol, and it's fine for what it is. I appreciate the kind of rectangular, futury, laser pistol-y looking barrel in the front. Alright, where to start? Well, first, going to untab the feet from the bottom, swing those down a bit, and then unpeg the backside from the backside. That pegs in up there. So bring that down, rotate the waist around, rotate the thighs, and then straighten out the feet. I do think it's pretty clever how the way they engineered it, the heels both come out and act as really good heels, but then these bits also come together to make a tab to hold the legs in vehicle mode. So with that done, can separate this out. These little flaps here tab in up here, but they also tab into the little holes in the shoulders for the joints, so you kind of want to pull up and down, so you can kind of see where that pegs in. Again, pull that down and out, and then this can swing down. I just want to swing this past the lower body, and then swing these flaps in so that we can straighten this out again, and then push those flaps in the rest of the way. It's a little bit strange, but it's not that complex or anything. It's just a very particular order of operations. Now, I want to fold these flaps in. We want to make sure they go underneath this back flap. So fold that in, and then this just kind of folds down along that. And there we've got the back of the car all compacted. Compacts pretty nicely. In the meantime, I'm going to accordion this up, and this will clip in so. Bring that in, and there we've got the lower body pretty much done. I'm going to fish the arms out of here. They just sit in here. I kind of wish that there was a better way that they handled the arms, like had them clip in somewhere, but it's fine. Now with the arms out, can push this bit down and swing that down and around, and oh look, it's her head and torso. And now this will come undone and swing back, and it'll settle along the lower part of the backpack here. This comes down, and these bits will go over these struts for the arms, and then this will peg into the this bit here. Or not quite peg, just kind of settle in. Then, with all of that in place, you swing the neck down, and that will peg in to this little bit back there. And that kind of locks everything together. It's not super secure, but it works. Like, it's not, she's not falling apart, but it's it could be a little bit more secure. And that's it. That is Studio Series 86 Arcee. Very simple transformation, but it is a transformation, so as I said, automatically better than the Kingdom version. Okay. My gripes with this figure are not from an engineering standpoint, they're from a visual design standpoint. As I said, the pinks, in my opinion, are too muted. I think they should be brighter. I think they should be a little bit more standout. The pink with the white, it's Arcee's colors, it's her design, but the pink is so muted, it kind of blends in a little bit with the white. And now Astrid's on my lap. Hi, Astrid. You want to say hi? She nuzzled the microphone. So yeah, it could do with a little bit more definition, a little bit more contrast. I do not mind the backpack at all. It's not great, obviously, but it compacts pretty well. It actually does something. Unlike, again, the Kingdom version was just kind of folds up a little bit and then becomes a surfboard. This at least compacts and mostly gets out of the way, and there is some transformation, and Astrid is really in a mood. Yes, hi honey. The gray, I think, helps. It adds a little bit more color, but again, the gray is kind of muted. If it was darker, I think it would contrast a little bit better. It all comes down to contrast. But, it's Arcee. It's undeniably Arcee. It's got the right look. It's using elements from the Thrilling 30 Arcee. You can particularly tell up top here with these peg holes in the little pods. I will say, despite my misgivings about the colors, I do think that as a toy, she's actually pretty cool. The transformation is actually pretty decent, especially because it is a transformation this time. It's not just fold up the action figure under a car shell. Yes, there is definitely car shell here, but the body does more than just bend the knees a certain way, bend the arms a certain way, and you're done. And as an actual figure, she's pretty spectacular too. Like, there's more posability with this Arcee than with a lot of other mainline figures, at least deluxes. It does kind of stink that because of the backpack, her arms can only really go back that far. But it's Arcee. She always has a backpack, and it usually gets in the way, especially with mainline stuff, so I'm not that terribly bothered by it. Hi. What does bother me, though, is the head. The head on Studio Series Arcee, I don't really like it. It's, okay, I know the Kingdom figure is loaded with flaws. Many, many flaws. But I actually prefer the sculpt of the Kingdom Arcee figure's head. The face is a little bit bigger, the helmet's a little bit smaller. It definitely isn't painted that great, because from what I recall, Kingdom Arcee's face, all they did was paint the eyes. I don't think they painted anything else. So at least with Studio Series Arcee, they did paint the face. Like, the face is pink, the lips are red, and the eyes are blue. So paint-wise, it looks good. And it does look like G1 Arcee, but it's just, I don't like the sculpt of it. I don't like how pinched in the face is, especially around the chin. I don't like how pronounced the angle is on these Princess Leia buns. basically all funnels your eye down to her chin. It's just one big arrow pointing down. Esther just tried to eat the microphone. But yeah, I don't like the look of that face. I don't like the head sculpt. The painting is good, but it's just not... I don't like it. I kind of am tempted to get Kingdom Arcee on the cheap, because it's really easy to get Kingdom Arcee on the cheap because nobody likes Kingdom Arcee, and try to do a head swap. I just don't like the head sculpt. Don't like it. What I do like about Studio Series Arcee is that articulation. So the head is on a ball joint, so it can look left and right, up and down, a lot. And you do get some tilt, but the ball is a little misshapen, so it kind of wants to snap to certain angles sometimes, which is a little bit tough to work around. But, you know, decent articulation on the head. The shoulders are on ball joints, so you can go theoretically all the way around. If the backpack gets in the way, you can go out that far, which isn't fantastic. But if you wanted to, you could go out like that and then rotate at the bicep and kind of fudge it like that. And I feel like that actually doesn't look too bad. I think visually you could get away with that. You do obviously get a bicep swivel. You get a really deep single elbow bend. That's nice. No wrist articulation, unfortunately. It's something that the Kingdom figure did better. You get an actual ab crunch, which is cool. Mine, it doesn't tab in super well, but I did go in and strengthen that rotation joint in there. So while it's not really plugged in, it does hold. Like, I don't have to worry about that section coming undone because I strengthened the joint. So there is that. You also get a waist rotation, which is both necessary for the transformation and just adds more articulation. The hips can go forward to about 90, can go back a little bit past 90, can go out not quite to 90, that could be better. You get a thigh swivel just above the knee, and the knees can bend a little bit past 90, and the feet can go up and down, and you also get really nice ankle tilts. So pretty darn decent articulation on this figure. She's making fun of all the boys doing that stupid hero pose. I do it with my figures too, it's silly. Anyway, here is the gun. It is the same gun as before, and she can hold it in her hand and all of that stuff. But you can do a little bit more with it. There is a little bit of a peg on the back of the gun, so if you wanted to, you could plug it into the peg hole back there and have it kind of over the shoulder. You can put it in her hand, as I said. The thing I like about this, though, is you've got these pegs on the side of the gun and these peg holes on the hips, and the pegs, they're not circular, but they are shaped just right to fit in there. So you can peg the gun into her hip, and it's basically like it's holstered. And that I really like. I like when any figures, let alone Arcees, have like a hip holster kind of option. I think that's cool. So yeah, Studio Series Arcee is not the best in terms of aesthetics. I mean, it's just fine in terms of aesthetics, but I think it's mostly the articulation that really kind of wins out here. Bringing in some mainline comparisons, you can see that she is a bit more height-wise in line with like a standard deluxe. She's small in terms of like her actual robot form is a bit slight, a little slender, but I do, as I've said, appreciate how much the car mode compacts onto her back, and the fact that she actually does transform a bit to go into vehicle mode. And I appreciate that we're left with a pretty darn posable action figure that does kind of transform a little bit. But see, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about how much I wish Studio Series 86 Arcee bumped up the contrast a little bit. Because Bumblebee Movie Arcee, she's got a really nice color layout. The grays are darker. The pinks, they are darker, but they're also more saturated. They're more vibrant. The whites are a little bit more dull, but I think that's because it's in service of the fact that it's, like the live action CG movie design. But like this color scheme works better than this one. This one just seems very desaturated, I guess. This one pops a lot more. So yeah, I just wish that they had gone with a little bit more contrast here. Again, I don't think that makes the figure bad. I actually think this is probably really the best G1 style Arcee figure we've gotten officially. Not the best G1 Arcee, obviously, because, Ocular Max Azalea exists, but I think in terms of official G1 style Arcee figures, this is probably the best one. And I'm specifying G1 style because Titan's Return Arcee was definitely not G1 style, but is fantastic. Animated Arcee, not G1 style, but fantastic. Prime First Edition Arcee, definitely not G1 style, but fantastic. And I'm sorry to keep griping on that. It's just it just frustrates me because I really like this figure. I just wish that the colors and deco were a little bit different. I just wish they pushed it a little bit more. And I also wish they gave her a better head sculpt. But that is going to do it. I think I've talked enough about this. I've kind of gone in circles. That is what I think of Studio Series 86, whatever her actual number is, Arcee. What do you all think of this figure? Or any of the other official G1 style Arcee figures we've gotten in the past? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and remember, toys are awesome, but at the end of the day, they are just toys.